is a true indicator of the functioning of the institution, including judiciary. It is not the building which gives an achieved status to the institution, but also mainly the performance, which means all the stakeholders, the judges and the lawyers put together. Therefore, it is heartening to note that today inauguration of many buildings that take place. There is a beautiful saying in Madurai Kanchi, the Sangam literature. Achamum avalamum advumum nikki setramum kaldamum seyyadu kattu ஞமன் கோலன்ன செம்மைத்து ஆகி சிறப்புற கொள்கை அறம்புரி அரங்கம் என்று சொன்னார். It is very beautifully said. The author walks through the streets of Madurai. From the morning to the next day morning, he records the occurrence. Mangudi Marudanal beautifully asserted this. Achamum avalamum arvumum neki. Without fear or favor, which we don't know, which we know very well. Without any undue interest, dispassionate, and also without lack of interest in deciding the case. Please consider the material as law Yama decides on the judgment day by taking into consideration of the deeds, both good and bad, done by the departed soul. And that should be done by a judge. He also says, refers to as Arangur Arangam. One has to go in the path of virtue. I only hope and trust that this High Court and the District Judiciary would keep the flag high, make all of us proud. Thank you very much for giving the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Just before I can do one more thing, I just forgot this. I wanted to flag it off in the presence of the Honorable Chief Minister and the Honorable Chief Justice of the Madras High Court. The quality of the legal studies is a matter of concern for all of us. The post of Director of Legal Studies, I have been informed, is kept vacant for the post of Director of Legal Studies. One of the feeder categories is kept vacant for which one of the feeder categories is that of a district judge. This is my suggestion to both the dignitaries on the dais. This is my suggestion to both the dignitaries on the dais to consider a suitable district judge for that post, so that we will see improvement in the study in the field of law. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Justice V. Ram Subramaniam, Judge, Supreme Court, one of the esteemed dignitaries of the day, is no guest to this court. He is and has been a father figure to the Madras High Court, and we all look up to him with respect and admiration for his profound knowledge and mastery over the law, and his erudite judgments laced with wit and wisdom. We now welcome him to deliver the special address.
Honorable Chief Justice of India, Honorable Chief Minister of the State, my esteemed brother, Honorable Justice Sundaresh, Honorable Justice Bhandari, the Chief Justice of the Madras High Court, the Honorable Law Minister, the Learned Advocate General for Tamilnadu, the Chairman of the Bar Council, Co-Chairman of the Bar Council, former Chief Justice of India, Honorable Justice Sadasivam, former Chief Justice of Jammu and Kashmir High Court, Honorable Justice Pal Vasanta Kumar, former judges of this court, present judges of this court, law officers, the respected bureaucrats, the learned additional advocates generals, my dear friends of the legal fraternity. One of the greatest advantages of standing in front of the mic is that you can remove the mask after a long time. But it does not mean that I would continue to occupy the rostrum for having the benefit of not being with the mask. While welcoming me and Honorable Justice Sundaresh, the Chief Justice of the Madras High Court mentioned that we too are the sons of the soil. But I should mention that the Honorable Chief Justice of India, Sri Justice N.V. Ramana, he is also in a way the son of the soil. This is because of the fact that the place from where he hails was originally part of the Madras Presidency. Therefore, we can appropriate him to Tamil Nadu. And this will not certainly attract the offense of misappropriation. The relationship between Telugu and Tamil has been excellent and extraordinary. As a matter of fact, the first Chief Justice of this High Court, Justice P.V. Rajamannar, who held the office for a record period of 13 years from 1948 to 1961, was a Telugu person. And the record that he created was that Justice P.V. Rajamannar was the son of Justice P. Venkatramana Rao, who was also the Chief Justice of this High Court from 1935 to 1942. And another record created by that family was that when Honorable Justice P.V. Rajamannar was the Chief Justice of this High Court, his father Venkatramana Rao was the Chief Justice of the Mysore High Court, and his brother-in-law Koka Subba Rao was the Chief Justice of the Andhra Pradesh High Court. It was from that Andhra Pradesh High Court that he went on to become the Chief Justice of India in 1966-67. Therefore, it is only the Tamil land which has produced a lot of Telugu Chief Justices. I am not saying it for the purpose of asking you to reciprocate now. I am saying it as a matter of fact. Therefore, in fact, when the Honorable Chief Justice of India entered the Chief Justice's chamber, he said, Justice Ram Subramaniam never invited me to this court. I should tell you, my Lord, the Chief Justice of India, that I was waiting for a very apt opportunity to invite you to this court, and today happens to be the most appropriate and auspicious day, being the first anniversary of your assumption of office as the Chief Justice of India. Insofar as the performance of judiciary in Tamil Nadu is concerned, for the benefit of the audience, I would say only two sentences as complete. Because as a matter of fact, the Chief Justice of India was to go by about 12:50 or 12:55. So I don't think we should delay. In the website of the Madras High Court, you will find a particular reference called case clearance rate. The number of cases filed in a particular year, the number of cases disposed of, and the percentage of disposal. If you go to that particular icon and click that case clearance rate, you will find that Tamilnadu judiciary ranks among the top performers of the Indian judiciary. In fact, in the year 2021, the number of cases filed in the Madras High Court was 1,33,766, and the number of cases disposed of by the Madras High Court was 1,46,244, which means our case clearance rate is 109%. 113. Then I think Chief Justice will have to correct the website and not me. Because the website says it is 109%. And insofar as the subordinate judiciary is concerned, the case clearance rate has consistently been more than 90%, which is a record for the entire country. Therefore, as part of the judiciary, we have been performing our part. Out of the three pillars of democracy, one pillar has showcased its part, and it is for the other two pillars to showcase their part. That is the message which I wanted to convey. Today I am happy to see that a lot of benefits are being distributed to the lawyers. As a lawyer, I knew the difficulties of lawyers, and I always used to remember what Ramachandra Kavirayar, one of the greatest poets of Tamil, said. He said, how can we lead our lives? Kallaittan, Mannaittan, Kaichittan, Kudikattan, Karpittana, Illaittan, Punnaittan, Yanakuttan, Kudututtan, Rakshittana, Allaittan, Sullittan, Yaraittan, Novattan, ஐயோ எங்கும் பல்லைத்தான் திறக்கத்தான் பதுமத்தான் புவியில்தான் பண்ணினானே என்று சொன்னார். அதுதான் பொதுவாக வழக்கறிஞர்களுடைய நிலை என்பதை உணர்ந்து தமிழ்நாடு பார் கவுன்சில் இன்றைக்கு அரசோடு சேர்ந்து ஒரு மிகப்பெரிய உதவியை வழக்கறிஞர்களுக்கு செய்ய முன்வந்திருக்கிறது. எனவே அனைவருக்கும் என்னுடைய நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Thank you for the enlightening speech. We now welcome Mr. P.S. Amalraj, Chairman, Bar Council of Tamilnadu and Puducherry, who works tirelessly for espousing the cause of advocates. We now welcome him to deliver the special address.
My Lord, the Honorable Chief Justice of India, Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Honorable Mr. Justice V. Ramasubramaniam, Judge Supreme Court, Honorable Mr. Justice M.M. Sudaresh, Judge Supreme Court, Honorable Chief Justice of the Madras High Court, Honorable Law Minister, Learned Advocate General, Honorable Judges of the High Court, former Judges of the Madras High Court, former Chief Justice of India, former CJ of the Jammu and Kashmir, Mr. S. Prabhakaran, Vice Chairman, Bar Council of India, Mr. V. Karthikeyan, Vice Chairman and other office bearer of the Bar Council of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, the President and office bearer of the All Bar Advocate Associations and other dignitaries present on the dais of the dais. Good morning to all. As the Chairman, Bar Council of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, I wholeheartedly express our gratitude to the Honorable Chief Justice of India, Judges of the Supreme Court and Chief Justice of this prestigious High Court who have readily given consent for the request made by the Bar Council to preside over this august function by showing their immense care and profound affection towards the welfare of the legal fraternity. It is our proud that the Honorable Chief Minister, who has for the first time has come this campus and going to distribute the welfare fund checks to the family members of the deceased advocates. The service of the advocate to the society is incredible, but due to sudden death of some advocates, their family members are put to hardship. Therefore, the office bearer of the Bar Council have taken the initiative to bring Tamil Nadu Advocate Welfare Fund Scheme to help the family members of the deceased advocate monetarily. And the Tamil Nadu government has also consented for the same. The Tamil Nadu Advocate Welfare Fund Act was enacted in 1987 and implemented in 1990 by providing the death benefit of rupees 50,000. Subsequently, it was increased on several occasions. At present, we are providing a sum of rupees 7 lakh with the funds derived from the sale of stamps and financial aid of the government of Tamil Nadu. As on date, 4,292 advocates' family have benefited from this fund. We are proud to note at this moment that the Honorable Chief Minister, Muthuvel Karunanidhi Stalin, shows kindness and support to the bar as like his father Dr. Kalaignar Karunanidhi, former Chief Minister of Tamilnadu, who was the architect of the welfare measure to the advocates. Even though the release of welfare fund is a great help to the family members of the deceased advocates, due to the hike of the cost of living at all levels, the existing welfare fund amount is inadequate to sustain themselves. As the chairman of the Bar Council, I take this opportunity to request the Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu to extend the benevolence of the state government to increase the welfare fund considerably so that the family of the deceased advocate will be able to tide over their personal loss and also provide an additional grant of rupees 20 crore to disperse their claims. The advocate profession is born between the court and the government. It is the advocate who argues the case for both the petitioner and the respondent, and with the proper advocacy, several good measures are activated. The COVID-19 pandemic has made everyone to realize that the health is wealth, and the Honorable High Court also realized the need for some mediclaim insurance policy for the advocate and their family members. Accordingly, a committee headed by the Advocate General has been constituted to study and implement the same. In this regard, we request the Honorable Chief Minister to bring a family health insurance scheme to the advocates to help them overcome the financial crisis in the problematic situations. Sir, the advocates play a vital role of the judiciary. As an officer of the court, they have to adapt with the evolving new technology, acts and rules. The advocates are required to be well equipped to keep them updated with the fullest knowledge of law. When we took oath as the office bearer of the Bar Council in this auditorium, the Honorable Judges Supreme Court has felt the need of continuous legal education programs with the good libraries and insisted to establish law academy in the state of Tamil Nadu like other states to help the advocates to improve their legal acumen. At this juncture, we request the Honorable Chief Minister to establish law academy to have well-equipped and intellectual lawyers in the noble profession. It is also pertinent to mention here that the most of the court which are newly constructed do not have chambers and other infrastructure, and it makes both the advocates and the litigants to face difficulties. Therefore, we request the Honorable Chief Minister to take urgent steps to allot separate funds to improve the infrastructure of the courts, including construction of the advocate chamber within the court premises. The role of the lawyer is indispensable in the justice delivery system. It is also observed that they are in irregular income group in their initial stage of practice. They are facing difficulties to meet out the financial needs and to eke out their livelihood. While so, it is more difficult for them to find out their shelter on the rental basis. Hence, we request the Honorable Chief Minister to introduce a housing scheme to the needy advocates. The requirements are all long pending demands, and these facilities will uplift the levels of the advocates, not only on the roles of the Bar Council at present, but also the benefit of the entire future generation of lawyers. We hope the same will be considered favorably. We assure that the entire legal fraternity, thankful for ever the Honorable Chief Minister, his parental care towards the legal fraternity. I thank all the dignitaries who have done this function and made this as an historic event. Thank you, one and all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We now have the distribution of death benefits from the Advocates Welfare Fund to the 467 families of the deceased lawyers. Due to paucity of time, we could not have all the beneficiary families with us. I request the Honorable Chief Minister to distribute the death benefits to 5 beneficiary families. I now request Tirumati S. Girija, wife of A. Suresh, Tirumati M. Hansad Banu, wife of Rajapdeen, Ms. Tirumati C. Rajeshwari, wife of the deceased advocate D. Sivachandran, Tirumati S. Bharati, wife of P. Soundrapandian, and Tirumati Maragadam, wife of S. Tangasamy. I also request the beneficiaries to come back on. Thank you, sirs. We are truly privileged and honored to have amongst us today the Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, who is paying his maiden visit as Chief Minister to this illustrious and chartered High Court. Within 1 year of assuming office, the Honorable Chief Minister has proved to be a trailblazer and trendsetter. It is well known that he harbors tremendous respect and esteem for the judiciary, the judicial officers, and indeed members of the legal professions. I now invite the Honorable Chief Minister to deliver the presidential address.
அனைவருக்கும் அன்பான வணக்கம். மாண்புமை உச்சநீதிமன்றத்தினுடைய தலைமை நீதியரசர் அவர்களே, உச்சநீதிமன்ற நீதியரசர் மாண்புமை வி. ராமசுப்ரமணியன் அவர்களே, உச்சநீதிமன்ற நீதியரசர் மாண்புமை M. சுந்தரேஷ் அவர்களே, மாண்புமை சென்னை உயர்நீதிமன்றத்தினுடைய தலைமை நீதியரசர் அவர்களே, சென்னை உயர்நீதிமன்றத்தினுடைய நீதியரசர்களே, மாண்புமிகு சட்டத்துறை அமைச்சர் ரகுபதி அவர்களே, ஓய்வு பெற்ற தலைமை நீதியரசர் சதாசிவம் அவர்களே, மற்றும் ஓய்வு பெற்ற நீதியரசர்களே, தலைமைச் செயலாளர் உள்ளிட்ட அரசு அதிகாரிகளே, சென்னை உயர்நீதிமன்றத்தினுடைய அட்வொகேட் ஜெனரல் சண்முகசுந்தரம் உள்ளிட்ட அரசு வழக்கறிஞர்களே, நீதித்துறையினுடைய முக்கிய தூணாகவும் கடைக்கோடி மனிதனுக்கும் நீதி கிடைக்க பாடுபடக்கூடிய வழக்கறிஞர் பெருமக்களே, பார் கவுன்சில் சேர்மன் அமல்ராஜ் அவர்களே, நிறைவாக நன்றி நல்கிருக்கக்கூடிய துணை சேர்மன் பிரபாகரன் அவர்களே, மற்றும் வருகை தந்திருக்கக்கூடிய சகோதர சகோதரிகளே, ஊடகத்துறை பத்திரிகைத் துறையினுடைய நண்பர்களே, உங்கள் அனைவருக்கும் அன்பான வணக்கம். நம்முடைய உச்சநீதிமன்றத்தினுடைய தலைமை நீதியரசர் அவர்களுக்கு அவர் பொறுப்பேற்று ஓராண்டு இன்றோடு நிறைவு பெறக்கூடிய வகையில் உங்களோடு சேர்ந்து நானும் அவருக்கு என்னுடைய வாழ்த்துக்களை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்ள விரும்புகிறேன். அவருக்கு இன்று ஓராண்டு முடிகிறது. எனக்கு அடுத்த மாதம் 7ஆம் தேதி ஓராண்டு முடிவடைவிருக்கிறது. தமிழ்நாட்டில் எனது தலைமையில் அரசு பொறுப்பேற்ற பிறகு உயர்நீதிமன்றத்தில் நான் பங்கு பெறக்கூடிய முதல் விழா இந்த விழா. அப்படிப்பட்ட இந்த சிறப்பான நிகழ்ச்சிகளை கலந்து கொள்வதிலே நான் மிகுந்த பெருமைப்படுகிறேன். சட்டத்தின் ஆட்சியை, சமூக நீதியின் ஆட்சியை, நீதி நெறிமுறைகளையும் விதிமுறைகளையும் முறையாக பின்பற்றும் ஆட்சியை வழங்க வேண்டும் என்ற உறுதியோடு தமிழ்நாட்டில் நல்லாட்சியை வழங்கிக் கொண்டிருக்கிறோம். அத்தகைய வழிமுறையே என்னாலும் எங்களை வழிநடத்தும் என்பதை நான் இந்த நேரத்தில் தெரிவித்துக் கொண்டு, மாண்புமை உச்சநீதிமன்றத்தினுடைய தலைமை நீதியரசர் அவர்கள் தமிழ்நாட்டிற்கு வந்திருப்பது உள்ளபடியே பெருமைக்குரிய வகையில் அமைந்திருக்கிறது. அதுவும் அவரோடு நானும் இந்த விழாவிலே பங்கேற்பதில் நான் உள்ளபடியே பெருமையாக கருதுகிறேன். சட்டத்தின் குரலாக மட்டுமல்ல, மக்களின் குரலாகவும் பல நேரங்களில் ஒலிக்கக்கூடியவராக நம்முடைய உச்சநீதிமன்றத்தினுடைய தலைமை நீதியரசர் அவர்கள் செயல்பட்டுக் கொண்டிருக்கிறார்கள். ஆந்திர மாநிலத்தில் பொன்னாவரம் என்ற கிராமத்தில் ஒரு எளிய விவசாய குடும்பத்திலே பிறந்து இன்றைய நாள் இந்தியாவினுடைய உச்சநீதிமன்ற தலைமை நீதிபதி அரசராக அவர் உயர்ந்து நிற்க காரணம் இந்திய மக்களின் மனசாட்சியின் குரலாக அவர் இருக்கிற காரணம்தான். அதுதான் அவர் தீர்ப்புகளிலும் தலைமை நீதியரசர் என்ற முறையிலே பங்கேற்கும் நிகழ்ச்சிகளில் அவர் ஆற்றக்கூடிய உரைகளிலும் எதிரொலித்துக் கொண்டிருக்கிறது. ஜனநாயகத்தின் அசைக்க முடியாத நம்பிக்கை கொண்ட நீதி அரசரான இவர் தற்போது நாட்டு மக்கள் அனைவரின் நம்பிக்கையை பெற்றவராக அவர் திகழ்ந்து கொண்டிருக்கிறார். நாடாளுமன்றம், சட்டமன்றம், நீதிமன்றம் ஆகிய மூன்றும் மக்கள் மன்றத்தின் விருப்பங்களை, உணர்வுகளை பிரதிபலிக்கக்கூடிய மன்றங்களாக செயல்பட வேண்டும். நமது மாண்புமை தலைமை நீதியரசர் அவர்கள் அப்படித்தான் செயல்பட்டு வருகிறார் என்பதற்கு ஏராளமான எடுத்துக்காட்டுகளை என்னால் எடுத்துக் கூற முடியும். அனைத்து சட்டங்களும் நீதிமுறை சார்ந்த லட்சியங்களால் உறுதி செய்யப்பட்ட வேண்டும் என்பதிலே உறுதியாக இருக்கக்கூடிய மாண்புமிகு உச்சநீதிமன்றத்தினுடைய தலைமை நீதியரசர் அவர்கள் இந்த விழாவிற்கு வந்திருப்பது நமக்கெல்லாம் மிகுந்த மகிழ்ச்சி அளித்துக் கொண்டிருக்கிறது. டுடே we have an excellent judicial system headed by our Honorable Chief Justice of India. As the guardian of the Constitution, the Indian judicial system has performed very well and is held in high esteem by the people of this country. அதேபோல் இங்கே நம்முடைய சென்னை உயர்நீதிமன்றத்தினுடைய தலைமை நீதியரசர் அவர்களும் நீதித்துறைக்கு சிறப்பான பங்களிப்பை அளித்து வருகிறார். தமிழ்நாட்டிலிருந்து உச்சநீதிமன்றத்திற்கு சென்று அங்கு வரலாற்று சிறப்புமிக்க தீர்ப்புகளை வழங்கக்கூடியவர்களாக நீதியரசர் மாண்புமிகு ராமசுப்ரமணியம் அவர்களும் நீதியரசர் எம் சுந்தரேஷ் அவர்களும் செயல்பட்டு வருகிறார்கள். இத்தகைய மாண்புமை நீதிமன்றங்களில் நீதியரசர்கள் வீற்றிருக்கக்கூடிய இந்த அவையில உரையாற்றுவதிலே நான் உள்ளபடிய மகிழ்ச்சி அடைந்து கொண்டிருக்கிறேன். நாகரிக சமுதாயத்தின் முன்னேற்றத்திற்கும் மறுமலர்ச்சிக்கும் மக்களின் பாதுகாப்பிற்கும் அவர்களது உரிமை பாதுகாக்கப்பட்டு செழித்தோங்குவதற்கும் சுதந்திரமாக செயல்படும் நீதித்துறை தேவை என்பதை நமது அரசியலமைப்பு உறுதி செய்கிறது. அதன்படி தமிழ்நாடு அரசும் செயல்பட்டு வருகிறது. அனைத்து மக்களுக்கு விரைவில் நீதி கிடைப்பதற்கு தேவையான அனைத்து வசதிகளையும் முன்னுரிமை அடிப்படையில் இந்த அரசு செய்து வருகிறது. Honorable Chief Justice Sir, now I am listing out of the details of recruitment of judges to the subordinate judiciary and constitution of new courts in the state to deal with the increasing number of litigations. கடந்த ஆண்டு மட்டும் சார்நிலை நீதிமன்றங்களுக்கு 64 நீதிபதிகள் நியமிக்கப்பட்டு அவர்களுக்கு தேவையான பயிற்சிகளும் வழங்கப்பட்டுள்ளன. கோயம்புத்தூர், சேலம், செங்கல்பட்டு ஆகிய மாவட்டங்களில் 3 வணிகவியல் நீதிமன்றங்கள், கமர்ஷியல் கோர்ட்ஸ், உரிமையியல் நீதிபதி, சிவில் ஜட்ஜ் நிலையில அமைப்பதற்கான ஆணைகள் வெளியிடப்பட்டது. அது மட்டுமல்ல, 3 வணிகவியல் நீதிமன்றங்கள் மாவட்ட நீதிபதி நிலையில் அமைப்பதற்கும் ஆணைகள் வெளியிடப்பட்டுள்ளன. அதோடு திருவண்ணாமலை, திருவாரூர் மாவட்டங்களில் புதிதாக சார்பு நீதிமன்றங்கள், சப்கோர்ட்ஸ் அமைக்கவும் ஆணைகள் வெளியிடப்பட்டுள்ளன. விருதுநகர் மாவட்டம் அருப்புக்கோட்டையில் கூடுதல் மாவட்ட நீதிமன்றம், அடிஷனல் டிஸ்ட்ரிக்ட் கோர்ட் அமைக்க ஆணை வெளியிடப்பட்டுள்ளது. நீதித்துறையின் நீடித்த சிறப்பான செயலாக்கத்திற்கு இந்த அரசு பல்வேறு நடவடிக்கைகளை தொடர்ந்து எடுத்து வருகிறது. வாடகை கட்டிடங்களில் இயங்கி வரக்கூடிய கீழமை நீதிமன்றங்களை படிப்படியாக சொந்த கட்டிடங்களுக்கு மாற்றுவதற்கும் அரசு துரித நடவடிக்கை எடுத்து வருகிறது. காரைக்குடியில ஒரு சட்டக்கல்லூரி தொடங்குவதற்கான நடவடிக்கைகள் மேற்கொள்ளப்பட்டு வருகிறது. இப்படி பல்வேறு முன்னெடுப்புகளை நீதித்துறைக்கு தமிழ்நாடு அரசு செய்து வருகிறது. நீதித்துறையின் உயிரோட்டமாக விளங்கும் வழக்கறிஞர்கள் நலன் காப்பதிலும் இந்த அரசு கவனம் செலுத்தி வருகிறது. இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியின் வாயிலாக வழக்கறிஞர்களின் கோரிக்கையான தமிழ்நாடு வழக்கறிஞர்கள் நலநிதி மூலம் வழங்கப்படும் சேம நல நிதியானது ரூபாய் 7 லட்சத்திலிருந்து 10 லட்சம் ரூபாயாக உயர்த்தி வழங்கப்படும் என்பதை நான் மகிழ்ச்சியோடு தெரிவித்துக் கொள்ள விரும்புகிறேன். அதோடு கொரோனா பெருந்தொற்றால் உயிரிழந்த சுமார் 450 வழக்கறிஞர்களுக்கு அறிவிக்கப்பட்ட 20 கோடி ரூபாய் தொகையின மாநில அரசு விரைவில் வழங்கும். இந்த நேரத்தில் இன்னொரு நல்ல செய்தியை உங்களுக்கு தெரிவிக்க விரும்புகிறேன். சட்டமேதை பாபா சாஹேப் அம்பேத்கர் அவர்களுடைய பிறந்த நாளான கடந்த 14/4/2022 அன்று சென்னை உயர்நீதிமன்ற வளாகத்திற்குள் இயங்கி வரக்கூடிய பல்வேறு நீதிமன்றங்களை ஒரு புதிய 9 மாடி கட்டிடத்தில் அமைக்கக்கூடிய வகையில் 20 கோடியே 24 லட்சம் ரூபாய் ஒதுக்கீடு செய்து அரசாணை பிறப்பிக்கப்பட்டுள்ளது. சென்னை உயர்நீதிமன்ற வரலாற்றிலேயே முதல் முறையாக சென்னையின் முக்கிய பகுதியில் நீதித்துறையினுடைய உட்கட்டமைப்பு தேவைகளை பூர்த்தி செய்யக்கூடிய வகையில் பல்வேறு நீதிமன்றங்களை அமைக்க வண்ணம் கடந்த 20/4/2022 அன்று 4.24 ஏக்கர் நிலம் நீதித்துறைக்கு இந்த அரசு வழங்கி உத்தரவிட்டுள்ளது. அதையும் நான் மகிழ்ச்சியோடு தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். அந்த கட்டடம் அமைந்தால் நீதித்துறை உட்கட்டமைப்புக்கு அடுத்த 100 ஆண்டுகளுக்கான தேவை பூர்த்தி ஆகும் என்பதிலே ஐயமில்லை. I am happy to announce that the state government has allocated 4.24 acres of land in addition to 3.52 acres of land already allocated to judiciary. This prime land in the city will create a strong judicial infrastructure that can take care of the needs for the next 100 years. The state will take steps to create necessary infrastructure to make it as in integrated comprehensive judicial complex. இந்த தருணத்தில் நீதித்துறையே முழுமையாக இங்கு வந்து வீற்றிருக்கும் இந்த மேடையில் மாநிலத்தின் சார்பாக சில கோரிக்கைகளை வைக்க நான் விரும்புகிறேன். On behalf of the government of Tamilnadu, I would like to place a few important requests for the kind consideration of the Honorable Chief Justice of India and other learned lordships here on this dais. In the appointment of judges to the High Court and Supreme Court, the Honorable Collegium may kindly ensure that the principle of social justice, along with our parameters for appointment, is followed. In this way, I consider that the principle of inclusiveness would be ensured in higher judiciary. Second, as we are all aware, Tamil Nadu occupies an important place among the states of southern region. And in order to meet the needs of the people of the southern states, have to go to New Delhi to get justice. I would like to mention a long pending request to constitute a bench of the Supreme Court at Chennai. My third request to the Lordship is for allowing the official language of the state, Tamil, to be used in the High Court of Madras. Already 4 states, namely Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Madhya Pradesh, use their official language on the state in the respective High Courts. This is a long pending and important request of the people and legal community of the state. I take this golden opportunity to place this request on behalf of the people of the state, and I am confident that your Lordship would certainly consider it all favorably. தமிழில் சொல்ல வேண்டும் என்றால், உச்சநீதிமன்ற உயர்நீதிமன்ற நீதிபதிகள் நியமனத்தில் சமூக நீதியும் கருத்தில் கொள்ள வேண்டும். தமிழ் மொழி உயர்நீதிமன்றத்தில் வழக்காடு மொழியாக ஆக்கப்பட வேண்டும். பொதுமக்கள் மற்றும் வழக்கறிஞர்கள் நலனை கருத்திலே கொண்டு உச்சநீதிமன்றத்தின் ஒரு கிளையின சென்னையில் அமைக்க வேண்டும் ஆகிய இந்த 3 கோரிக்கைகளை இங்கு வருகை புரிந்திருக்கக்கூடிய மாண்புமை உச்சநீதிமன்ற தலைமை நீதியரசர் அவர்களுக்கு முன்பாக நம் அனைவரின் சார்பாக நான் வைத்திருக்கின்றேன். நம் மாநில உயர்நீதிமன்ற தலைமை நீதியரசர் அவர்களும் தமிழ்நாட்டிலிருந்து டெல்லி சென்று உச்சநீதிமன்றத்தின் நீதியரசர்களாக செயலாற்றக்கூடிய மாண்புமை நீதியரசர்களும் அதற்கு துணை நிற்க வேண்டும் என்று நான் கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறேன். நீதியரசர்கள் அதை நிச்சயம் நிறைவேற்றி தருவார்கள் என்று நான் நம்புகிறேன். சட்டத்தின் ஆட்சியாக, சமூக நீதி ஆட்சியாக, நீதி நெறிமுறை கொண்ட ஆட்சியாக தமிழ்நாடு ஆட்சி செயல்பட்டுக் கொண்டிருக்கிறது. இத்தகைய ஆட்சியில் நீதித்துறையினுடைய கோரிக்கைகள் உடனுக்குடன் எந்தவித தாமதமும் இல்லாமல் நிறைவேற்றப்பட்டுக் கொண்டிருக்கிறது. அதற்கு ஒரே காரணம், மக்களுக்கான நீதியே மகத்தானது என்பதோடு கடைக்கோடி குடிமகனுக்கும் நீதி தாமதமின்றி கிடைக்க வேண்டும் என்ற அடித்தரத்தில் செயல்பட்டு வரக்கூடியவர்கள் நாங்கள். இத்தகைய நெறிமுறைகளை எங்களை வழிநடத்துகிறது. இறுதியாக, I would like to thank Honorable Chief Justice of India for having kindly consented to visit the state and grace this occasion, and all the eminent legal minds present here today. நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Thank you, sir. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank our Honorable Chief Minister for the announcement today for the construction of the first of its kind, modern, historic, landmark integrated judicial complex. I am informed that the Honorable Chief Minister's government acceded to the High Court's request for transfer of land with unprecedented expeditiousness, showcasing the government's commitment to develop the judicial infrastructure. I now request our Honorable Chief Minister to hand over a copy of the government order for this mega project to the Honorable Chief Justice of India, and in turn request my Lord the Chief Justice to hand over the same to the Honorable Chief Justice of the Madras High Court.
மாண்புமிகு முதலமைச்சருக்கு எங்களது நன்றி. The Chief Justice of India, Mr. Justice N.V. Ramana, known for being progressive in thought and swift in action, is one of the most well-known faces in the country, as he has a unique way to connect to people at all levels of society. He has championed the cause of women by demanding 50% reservation for women in the judiciary and has exhorted the judiciary to have a human face. His tenure has seen a record number of judges being appointed to the Supreme Court and the High Courts, with his consistent efforts in filling up of vacancies in a short period of 1 year. We now welcome him to deliver the inaugural address.
Honorable Thiru M.K. Stalin, Chief Minister of Tamilnadu, Brother Justice V. Ramasubramaniam, Brother Justice M.M. Sundaresh, Judges of the Supreme Court of India, Honorable Chief Justice of Madras High Court, Justice Bhandari, Thiru S. Raghupati, Minister of Law, Government of Tamil Nadu, Thiru Sadasivam Garu, former Chief Justice of India, brother and sister judges of the Madras High Court, Sri Wilson, Member of the Parliament and Senior Advocate, Paul Vasantakumar, former Chief Justice of Jammu and Kashmir, Thiru S. Prabhakaran, Vice Chairman, Bar Council of India, Thiru P.S. Amalraj, Chairman of Bar Council of Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry, Sri Thiru R. Shanmuga Sundaram, Advocate General of Tamil Nadu, Senior Officers of the Government of Tamil Nadu, Registrar General, Registrars and other staff of the Madras High Court, Thiru V.R. Kamalnathan, President of and other office bearers and members of Madras Bar Association, Thiru Mohan Krishnan, President, Tirumati Louis Sal Ramesh, Thiru Senguttavan, President and other office members of the Madras Law Association, judicial officers, law officers, other distinguished guests, media persons, ladies and gentlemen. எல்லாருக்கும் வணக்கம். ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம் இருக்கு for attending this event. I am very much pleased to visit the historic city of Chennai. even though this is first visit to the Chennai High Court, after taking as the Chief Justice of India, I first landed in Chennai only, and thereafter I went to Balaji Tirupati. It carries forward the traditions and cultures of various dynasties from several historic periods. Known as the gateway to South India, it is one of India's economic powerhouse. It is also one of the cultural capitals of the country with its rich traditions of art, architecture, dance, music and cinema deeply embedded into the lives of the people. Tamilians take deep pride in their identity, language, food and culture. They have always been at the forefront of protecting cultural and linguistic rights in the country. Even today, we people think about the linguistic diversity of India. The battle fought by Tamilians comes to one's mind. As a child, when I visited my relatives in the city, I remember witnessing massive protests on the language issue, though I was too young to understand the issue involved. It is in the year almost 1966 and 65. The Madras High Court and Madras Bar Association have a rich history of over 1.5 centuries. I belong to the neighboring Telugu states, which were once part of the combined state of Madras. The decisions, precedents, rules and procedure of the combined Madras High Court still have an influence on both High Courts of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. The illustrious members of the bar and bench of the Madras High Court have immensely contributed to nation building and advancement of social justice. Sri Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, Sri T.T. Krishnamachari and Sri N. Gopalaswamy Iyengar were among those who actively assisted the drafting committee of the Constituent Assembly led by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Many luminaries from the Madras Bar have contributed to the national movement and the politics of independent India. Andhra Keshari Tanguturi Prakasam Pantulu Garu, who had the distinction of serving as the Chief Minister of Madras Presidency and subsequently as the Chief Minister of Andhra State, was also product of this prestigious bar. Before plunging into the struggle for Swaraj in 1920s, Prakasam Pantulu Garu decided to give up his lucrative practice as barrister and never entered the High Court premises thereafter. The story of his challenge to the British soldier to shoot him if he can, bearing his chest to the gun, is legendary. Sri Pakala Venkatraman Rao Rajamannar is another big name that comes to mind when we talk about Madras Bar. He had the distinction of becoming the first Indian Chief Justice of Madras High Court. He went on to serve for 13 long years in that capacity. Sri R. Venkatraman went on to serve the country in various capacities before becoming the President of India. Mr. Justice M. Patanjali Sastry came from the Madras Bar and went on to becoming the second Chief Justice of India. I had the privilege of being chosen by the bench of the Supreme Court by the 40th Chief Justice of India through Justice Sadasivam Garu, who also was a member of this bar. I hope I am able to live up to his expectations. Thiru K. Parasaran is one of the jewels of this bar. He has taught me several legal etiquettes. He will always be my revered guru. The current Attorney General Sri K.K. Venugopal, he was deeply respected by the bar and bench alike. He is a product of this bar. Even today, the Madras Bar always takes the lead when it comes to advocacy, be it for protection of rights or strengthening of institutions, particularly the judiciary. During the last 1 year of my tenure as Chief Justice of India, I have been highlighting various issues affecting our legal system in India. The biggest issue affecting all institutions nowadays, including the judiciary, is ensuring sustained faith in the eyes of the public. The judiciary is vested with immense constitutional responsibility of maintaining the rule of law and checking executive and legislative excesses. We have the duty of upholding and enforcing the constitutional values. It is no doubt a heavy burden, but it is one that we have gladly chosen on the day we took our constitutional oath. This is the reason why strengthening judicial institutions has been my top priority. Strengthening the judiciary is imperative for democracy sustained on the rule of law. Dispensing justice is not only a constitutional duty but also a social one. Conflicts are inevitable for any society, but constructive resolution of conflict is integral to maintain the social order. Constructive conflict resolution is not a mere technical job. Particularly in a country like India, judges cannot blindly apply the rules, procedures and statutes. After all, conflicts have a human face. We are constantly aware about our duty to render justice not merely procedural but also substantial. Before rendering any decision, the judges have to weigh several socio-economic factors and the impact of their decisions on the society. I firmly believe that the judiciary should never be viewed as a mere enforcer of law. It is an engine of social integration. Judging is not an easy task. Judges should be aware of social realities. We have to carefully watch the changing social needs and expectations. The world is moving very fast. We are witnessing this change in every sphere of our life. From 5-day test match, we have moved to 2020 format. We prefer short duration entertainment over 3 hours long movie. From filter coffee, we have moved on to instant coffee. In this era of instant noodles, people expect instant justice, but they do not realize that real justice will be a casualty. We strive for instant justice. We judges have to sharpen our ideas and perceptions. We need to expand our knowledge base and adopt technology as enabler. There cannot be a gap between the mind of a judge and the needs of the society. Ultimately, we are entrusted with the duty to deliver justice to all. We must always remember the essence of Tirukkural 541, and I quote, "Varundu Karnadado Iruvai Purundu Yarumattam Tirunde Sevade Murai." If any pronunciation is wrong, it goes to Rama Subramaniam. Because he always pulls my leg. Investigating intensely, leading fairly, without unduly favoring anyone, analyzing and acting constitute justice. This is the loosely translated version. The people of this country look up to the judiciary in times of distress. They firmly believe that their rights will be protected by the courts. It is necessary to contemplate how to improve the functioning of the judiciary, how to reach out the people and fulfill their justice needs. This is precisely, I have been a strong proponent of Indianization of the justice delivery system. By Indianization, I mean molding the Indian judicial system for the benefits of Indian populace. It is a multi-dimensional concept. It calls for inclusivity, providing access to people to participate in the proceedings, removal of language barrier, reforms in practice and procedure, development of infrastructure, filling up of vacancies, augmenting the strength of the judiciary, and so on. I don't know how the Honorable Chief Minister came to know about my speech in advance, what that I am going to say. Infrastructure development forms one of the core ideas which is the expanding economy and growth in population. The number of litigation is rising alarmingly, but there is a severe gap between the existing infrastructure and the projected justice needs of the people. Moreover, the existing infrastructure is so far being inclusive for all. Ever since I have assumed this office, Strengthening the judicial infrastructure, both in terms of manpower and physical infrastructure, has been on the top of my priorities. My career involved practicing from the magistrate court to the Supreme Court. I am deeply aware about the problem being faced by the judges, advocates, and the litigants. Court functioning is greatly inhibited due to lack of infrastructure, both physically and personally. While as certain states, including Tamilnadu, have been actively working to augment their judicial infrastructure, and I wholeheartedly welcome the measures which the Honorable Chief Minister now announced. I thank him for taking all the steps which he has taken up. I am also very happy that he is taking several welfare measures to protect the advocates community. Thank you, Mr. Chief Minister. Several states are their need for immediate action. This is the reason why I am championing judicial infrastructure authorities, both at national and state levels, which will implement the National Court Development Project. I have already sent a comprehensive proposal in this regard to the Government of India, which is pending with the Government of India. Another correlated issue is that the filling of judicial vacancies, as well as increasing the sanction strength of judges. This is necessary to reduce the caseload for judge and improve the judge to population ratio. It is my duty to bring to the notice of the public about the present condition of the judges' vacancies. As on today, out of 1104 sanctioned posts of the High Court judges across the country, there are 388 vacancies. From day one, it has been my endeavor to fill judicial vacancies. In fact, my very first communication to the Chief Justices of the High Court was to request them to expedite the process of recommending names for elevation. Due to collective efforts at all levels, we could make considerable progress in the filling of the judicial vacancies. After I assumed office, we made 180 recommendations so far for appointment in the High Courts. Out of these, 126 appointments were made. 54 proposals are awaiting for approval before the government. The government has received nearly 100 proposals from various High Courts, which is yet to be transmitted to the Supreme Court. I am hoping that the High Courts will expedite the process of sending the proposals to fill the remaining 212 vacancies. Another issue I want to discuss is that of the language used in the courts. The common citizen of this country cannot relate to the practices, procedures, and language of our courts. Our efforts should be connected in making the general population an active part of the justice delivery process. The parties must understand the ongoing process and development of the case. It should not be like chanting mantras in a wedding, which most of us do not understand. From time to time, there have been demands from various regions to allow the use of local language in the proceedings before the High Courts as provided for under Article 348 of the Constitution. A lot of debate has taken place on this subject. There are certain barriers that have prevented local languages being adopted in the proceedings before the High Courts. I am sure within innovation of the science and technology, the advancements such as artificial intelligence, some of the issues associated with the introduction of languages in High Courts may be solved in the near future. The practice of law before constitutional courts should be based on one's intelligence and understanding of law and not mere proficiency in language. It is time for some decisions to be taken on this issue after assessment of the pros and cons. Inclusivity is one of the most important dimensions of unionization. Any profession having representation from all classes and sections will be beneficial to all. I have been a strong proponent of higher representation of women at all levels of the legal profession. Speaking of women particularly, we need women from all classes and all sections to find a place within the judicial system. As Mahakavi Bharati said more than a century back, and I quote, Anum pennum nigarana kolladal arivilongi yavayam That means the world will prosper in knowledge and intellect if both men and women are deemed equal. Inclusivity does not stop only representation of women. The social and geographical diversity of the nation must find reflection in all levels of the judiciary. With the widest possible representation, people get to feel that it is their own judiciary. Everyone has a voice in the system, that is, and they form a substantial part of it. In fact, we are awaiting a day where persons' gender, orientation, birth, or identity would not act as a barrier. For example, a judge from a rural background is better placed to appreciate issues concerning the rural population. A judge from a particular region understands the issues of that area better. A judge from marginalized section understands the issues of marginalized better. Another aspect of inclusivity relates to the geographical barriers faced by both litigants and lawyers while appearing before the constitutional courts. A member of this bar, senior advocate and parliament member, Sri Wilson, was introduced a private member's bill to enable setting up of regional benches of the Supreme Court. I am not aware if the Government of India has expressed its view on this subject, but in the same spirit of accessibility, I have, in consultation with my brother and sister judges in the Supreme Court, continued the online hearing of miscellaneous days which we had started during the pandemic. On non-miscellaneous days, advocates can still seek the permission of the court to appear online. This is enabled advocates from all over country to continue their practice before Supreme Court. I hope this practice will continue and strengthen in the future also. Now, majority of the advocates across the country, they are appearing online and arguing their own cases. The Bar Council of India and state bar associations have taken several steps to eliminate conditions of the lawyers during the pandemic. Now the Chief Minister has announced and distributed some checks also. Soon after taking over of Chief Justice of India, I had also taken up this and a host of other issues with the Honorable Law Minister. I appreciate the efforts of Tamilnadu government for extending a helping hand for the cause of lawyers. I would like to compliment the Chief Minister who is working hard for the bright future of the state. Chief Justice Bandari informs me the Chief Minister and the government are extremely cooperative in this effort to strengthen the judiciary. Now coming back to my friend Justice Ramasubramaniam. Justice Ramasubramaniam, he is, even though he claims a Tamilian, I think he is a Moru Telugu man. You all witnessed his knowledge about Telugu is more than me. And so, hereafterwards, I will call him a Telugu man, not a Tamilian. And is an excellent person, very intelligent, and his contribution as a judge, I know from the days of his working in Andhra, the combined Andhra Pradesh High Court and thereafter in the Supreme Court, one of my best well-wisher and good friend. And I'm happy today he is sharing a dais with me. Similarly, my younger brother, Justice Sundaresh, just started his new avatar in Supreme Court. I had a lot of hopes and expectations, brother, and you have to keep up the flag of the Indian judiciary very high in the future. I wish you all success. I would like again to congratulate the Dynamic Chief Justice of Madras High Court. I am sure with your energy and dedication, you will be able to take this historic High Court to new heights. I am honored to have unveiled series of infrastructure projects of Tamil Nadu judiciary today. I thank all the brother and sister judges organizing this event. Before I end, I must extend my heartfelt gratitude to the members of Madras Bar, who are one of those who had the rare honor of being visited by Mahatma Gandhi during his freedom struggle. It is a testimony to your contribution to the freedom struggle. You have always stood by me, by my side, when the time needs. You have been my strong pillars of support. I thank you very much, everyone. Nandra Vanakkam.